Hey up, I hope you're all alright. This is a quick rant from Dunelm car park. You've heard me rant about things like this before, but today's a pretty dark day for me. So, these, it's a bit of an exaggeration, isn't it? These bureaucrats, these not council workers, sorry, the councillors at the top. Not all councillors, I must say, because I have spoken to a councillor recently and he's alright. But yeah, let me tell you what this is about. So, as a lot of you already know, every other weekend, just about, I go to Bridlington for the weekend with my daughter. She absolutely loves Bridlington, and my mum and dad have a static caravan, so they're there quite a lot as well. And we go and meet up with them, and we do all the stuff. We go on the slot machines, we go to Boys, or we'll have fish and chips. We go on the harbour, we go on the beach, just to the general stuff. And we stay in the van. We stay in Elsie. Now, I've only done van life 2.5 years, but in that time, it's just getting harder and harder. So yeah, let me tell you what's happened. You used to be able to park in certain car parks in Bridlington, like at Scarborough, but then council, that person in office, oh, we can't have that. Oh, we don't want people coming here. We've had a complaint from this man, this whinger. He's complained about it. They leave mess. Which they don't leave mess. I'll get onto that in a bit. So we had that, and that were bad enough. But then some enterprising landlords up and down the country have decided to start letting motorhomes park up in the car parks, which is great. That's a win-win. The visitors get to come and stay overnight, somewhere that's fairly secure and safe and quiet. They're going to the pub and have a meal, spend a few quid. And even if they don't go in the pub, usually they'll pay. These pub stops will charge you 10 quid or something to stay in their car park overnight. Great, win-win. So I've been doing that. In Bridlington, there's 3 options. You've got the Shipping, you've got Fern Farm Hotel, and you've got Seabirds. The Shipping's a great park up. It's a bit pricey for a pub stop, but you can never get in because it's always booked up. You've got to book so far in advance, so it's not really practical. They've only got about 5 spots. You can never get in. I've not stayed at the Fern Farm. I think it's called Fern Farm. We usually stay at Seabirds, and we like it because it's in the centre of, pretty much in the centre of town. Anyway, so I go on Facebook this morning and I see this post from it's gone. Was it gone? From the Seabirds, Bridlington. Sorry to inform you all, but at the moment we have been told by our local council to cease having campervan stopovers. Sorry for any inconvenience. And I put that on my Facebook page, By the Curb Facebook page. I'm like, what? And everyone's in comments, what? Why? How can councils stop pubs? How can they tell a pub that you're not allowed to have motorhome stay overnight? So I thought, anyway, I need to get to the bottom of that. And I contacted Seabirds, and I'm going to go and meet with landlords to try and find out what the council have said. But I thought, well, I've got to book somewhere for this weekend. So I phoned up the Fern's Farm place, and I said, hey, can I book for Saturday night in my motorhome? And he said, oh, we're not allowed. Council have told us we're not allowed to take any bookings. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Who's this person? Why can't you take bookings? You're private. It's not council land or anything like that. The manager, I think what manager I spoke to, and he didn't seem to know. He says, I think this is all he said. There might not be anything in this. He said, I think it's something to do with planning permission. So apparently they're telling people, pubs, that they need to have planning permission. And that's what they do. And it'll cost. It'll cost. Yeah, we'll do it. And we'll take about 6 months and rest. And it'll be fire and health and safety and all that. And I know you've got to have a little bit of that in life. Otherwise people, these accidents happen and stuff like that. But it's just like, it's ridiculous. So I thought, right, I can't go there. I thought, I'll have a look in Shipping on off chance, which I knew I wasn't going to get in Shipping. And yeah, surprise, surprise, I couldn't get in Shipping. So I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to stay on a campsite. I don't like staying on campsites because they're usually quite expensive. But I thought, well, we love going to Bridlington, we'll book on a campsite. No, they're all booked. So there's nowhere for us to stay this weekend. Something we've been doing for a long time, going and spending money, Going and spending our money in little businesses, local fish and chip shop, in shell shop, on arcades, all these little things that you buy, ice creams and everything, all small businesses that you're supporting. So we're probably not going to go this weekend. So it might only be 150 quid, but, you know, and my daughter's going to be disappointed. You know, what about our human rights? You know, you can laugh, but you keep hearing about all the human rights of all these criminals. What about our rights? What about my civil liberties? I know I could go and park up on a street, which, if I were going on my own, I'd just go and park on a street. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that when I've got my daughter with me. I don't know what to do. I'm feeling pretty rebellious at the moment. But yeah, I need to get to the bottom of this. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully some of you that are watching might be able to help people. You know, like I say, I know counsellors that watch me, and I know people that work in radio and stuff like that. So if you know somebody, a local journalist in that area, Scarborough or Bridlington, because what's happened in Scarborough is ridiculous. It's absolute scandalous what they've done in Scarborough. You can't park anywhere in Scarborough, and the main bit where people parked on the Marine Drive, they weren't causing any harm. No harm at all. There's no houses there, there's no businesses there. It's just a cliff face, basically. But all these people were going and spending a lot of money. You imagine all those vans that were there and going spending money in Scarborough. And then when I do stuff like this, whenever YouTubers or van lifers talk about this, it brings trolls out. And I know what you're going to say, so I'll preempt you so you can save your breath. Well, first, I couldn't give a toss what you think. But secondly, people that say, oh, van lifers leave a mess. They don't leave a mess, right? Maybe the odd one in how many thousand leaves a mess. Because there's good and bad. That's what we get told, isn't it? They're telling us that all the time. There's good and bad in everybody. Don't judge a group of people on the actions of a few. They always say that, don't they? I was in a car park the other day, and there were some young lads in a car, and they had a McDonald's, and they chucked shit wrappers out at window. Shall we ban cars from that car park? No cars allowed. You know, that argument is a load of rubbish. Then there's the other argument. I'll tell you what you get. If you can afford a motorhome, you can afford to pay on the campsites. Well, it's not the point, that, is it? Because they're all full. There's not enough spaces, there's not enough campsites. Why cannot councils, you know, they do these sites for travellers. Why can't they do that? And that's not me having a go, that's a good idea. Why can't they do that? Why can't they do that for van lifers? Have some sort of system. You know, we've been to places like, we went to Canterbury, and the park and ride scheme that they had. And I've talked about this before. Some places, there's a car park in Chester. Was it Rodey car park? Brilliant. It's only a matter of time before them places go. It's like there's something coming from higher up, isn't it? It's like they want to control us. They don't like people. They don't like people living in the vans. Because you're sort of opting out of society a little bit, and they hate that. You know, I was never one for conspiracy theories, me, but I'll tell you what, recently you start noticing stuff, don't you? And there's some truth in some of it. They do want to control us. Absolutely. And we've got to make that decision. I'm making that decision now. And probably it's because I'm a bit emotional at the moment and it's all a bit raw, but I've been through things in life and I've not done anything about it, because that's the normal. It's a rare human being that stands up and says, I'm going to do something about it. You know, I lived in Rotherham for a period during the scandal, you know what happened in Rotherham, and I was incensed by it. And I thought, we need to do something about this. But nobody ever did anything. And I was one of them people that didn't do anything either. And I feel guilty for that. I'm not comparing this in any way. It's probably a bad analogy. I'm not comparing this to what happened in Rotherham. I mean, forget I said that. That's ridiculous. But I feel passionate about this, so I do want to do something about it. I am going to find out who's responsible, and I'm going to get a meeting with them. And I'm going to go all out to get a meeting with them. And if they won't meet with me, we'll ramp it up a little bit and we'll do something. I'm not going to break any laws or anything like that, but I'm going to get my voice heard. So if you're... And I'm a bit scared of doing that because I'm not like the brightest bloke. I'm not very articulate, but, you know, I feel like somebody's got to do something, haven't they? Hopefully there's somebody better than me and more articulate than me that'll take it up. Somebody's told me there's somebody in Morecambe that's starting a movement. I need to find out who that is and maybe contact them. Because it's just not fair. And I know a lot of you are going to... not be bothered, because not all you know, it's not just van lifers that watch me, it's all sorts, but it's just all these different things. It's a drip, and it's more bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is ridiculous. You know, I know somebody who's applied for planning permission. Talking of planning permission, just to do a little bit, it's like an extension thing, totally innocent, and it's like, it's ridiculous. It's like been going on for like a year, and then they keep coming back. Oh, you can't. Who are these people? Do you know what I mean? So there you go. That's my rant. We need to. Oh, just one final thing. So as you know, I've been in Scotland for a week, and that's a different planet. Scotland for van life thing. I were in that leisure centre, and I said. She says, oh, you can park in... I said, I went in because somebody said, I read online that you could park there overnight, and I thought, surely you can't park here overnight. It's really nice. And I went in, I said, am I allowed to park overnight here? Ambulance. And she says, yeah. She says, and if you want to use facility, showers and everything, it's £2.50. I was blown away. Not only that, it were peaceful, it were a lovely car park, it were clean, and it were wonderful views. Then I went to Glasgow. You go to the Kelvin Grove Museum, you can park there overnight. What a park up that is. Right, walking distance at city centre. What other one? There's the harbour at St Abbs. There's a few all over Scotland. I know some people say it's getting harder in Scotland, but I mean, and I'm sort of a newbie with that, but it seems fantastic. And certainly another level to England. England's just getting impossible. You know, you go on these, when you're trying to, if I go somewhere new and I'm on these, I go on these websites, Park for Night, and search for sites. You go to some areas when it's a different council, and it's great when you find one of these car parks, but it's getting harder and harder to find, so you end up down some dodgy back street where you feel a little bit, do you know what I mean? Anyway, there you go. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I don't want to hear from trolls, because I'm sick of hearing you. That feel that you need to tell me I live in a van. I'm aware of that. And then the people that say, you're not paying any council tax. Well, I guess I'm not paying any council tax. You're just jealous, aren't you? I paid far more in tax than a lot of them people trolling me, I'll tell you. You know, I have a business and I pay this is my business, and I pay quite a lot of tax on this. And I pay tax every day when I buy things, and I pay road tax and all that sort of stuff. So that's not an argument. So, yeah, there's... a lot of people got it in for van lifers, and it feels like a lot of them people work for local authorities. They might seek out them jobs on purpose. Anyway, I hope everybody's well, and I'll be I've got more Scotland videos coming up. I just wanted to get this out and just have a bit of a moan. Alright, see you there.